So I want to talk today again about Moby Dick, and I want to relate a little, I think, funny moment that was something that interested me as a younger person struggling to find meaning and etc. in my career. And as Ishmael's going to join, is it the Pequod? Captain Ahab's ship. He's talking to one of the owners who's interviewing him, and he's saying basically, why do you want to join a whaling ship? And Ishmael says, well, I want to learn about whaling and I want to see the world. And I think see the world is something that I know I have an affinity for. I want to do the same thing. I want to see the world, right? What does that really mean? So the captain, the owner of the ship, who's also a captain, kind of decides to dig into this a little bit, and he says, but you also want to go in order to see the world. Was that not what you said? So just step forward and look over. They're standing on the ship. Look over towards the ocean and tell me what you see. So Ishmael responds, Roman is still a little puzzled by this curious request. Um, but so going forward, glancing at the weather bow, I perceived the ship swinging to anchor, blah, blah, blah. But you're just boarding towards the open ocean. The prospect was unlimited, but exceedingly monotonous and forbidding. Not the slightest variety that I could see, right? So not the slightest variety. And he says, what'd you see? And he goes, not much, just nothing but the water, just the horizon, and like maybe there's a storm coming, but basically nothing, right? He's staring out at the ocean, the open ocean. Everything looks exactly the same. And so then the captain responds, well, what do you think of the world, of seeing the world then? Like, do you wish to go around the Cape Horn, right, in South Africa, to see more of it? Can't you see the world where you stand? So this is an interesting question on, kind of on two levels. Because one, from the standpoint of being at sea, if you're just staring at the open ocean all the time, it's going to look exactly the same, almost regardless of where you are. So if he's whether they're around Cape Horn, it's going to look like the open ocean that he's seeing here. But then at the same time, there's this idea that can't you see the world where you stand? So when you say when you want to see the world, well, you can look about and see the world, right? Like I don't know if I've totally grasped this, but it's a very interesting question where it's like, well, I guess what you're saying when you say I want to see the world is I want to see different parts of the world, or I want to see parts of the world that I'm used to, my world from a different perspective. And traveling can certainly help you do that. It's very important. But at the same time, it's also important to look out and realize that, hey, you can see the world from where you stand. So this is a kind of very practical, old guy wisdom to Ishmael's like young man sense of adventure, etc. So anyway, I just really like to keep that in mind when I start to get a little, fanciful and be like, well, I need to set out and about. And it's like, well, okay, well, what can you see from right here? How's it going to be different if you're over there? And if you have a good answer to that question, then by all means. But just, yeah, I think it's something useful to keep in the back of your head.